Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Christina, and in today's video, I am truly filming a completely impromptu day in the life. I don't usually do day in the lives, but I get asked for them all the time, so we're gonna try it out. I am trying to do my hair really quick to get ready for the day. My husband just took the kids out to the family rec center because with his new work schedule, he's home in the mornings, and so we're flipping around our schedule and adjusting to it and all of those things. And so I'm going to be getting some things done around here this morning and then setting up for our morning time, or what will technically probably be like an afternoon group lesson time. And I thought maybe it would be a good time to take you guys along and just see what it looks like a random day in December with our sort of new schedule, doing some Christmas schooling things. We just got back from a trip yesterday, so we were away for a few days doing some travel schooling in the Adirondacks. So today it's kind of like a settling back in day. My house is a mess. There's tons of laundry to be done. I do want us to get back a little bit into our group lessons and independent work. While we did do our Advent studies and some reading and different things while we were away, we tend to usually do less academics while we're away. So I want us to get a little bit back into our rhythms today, and I thought it might be fun to take you guys along for a little bit of that. So I'm going to finish up my hair. I have some curriculums that I need to film. I film flip-throughs of them for the love of homeschooling, and I often do giveaways of them on my page in collaboration with For the Love of Homeschooling. So if you're not on Instagram or you're not following me on Instagram, definitely come follow me over there, because at least a couple times a month I'm doing giveaways of some sort over there. It just happens to be that it happens more on Instagram because the brands and things that I collaborate with tend to do their things over there. So definitely go follow me over there if you're not already, so you don't miss out on those opportunities. So I've got my tea that I may add some elderberry syrup to because I'm fighting something, like some kind of cold is trying to come on. But one thing that I've really been trying to do lately when I do choose to share about our home and our days is just the reality, because I do love a really clean, neat, minimalistic home, but the reality is in a smaller home with a family of 7, it can be really, really hard to keep it that way. And so a lot of times it is that way, but it doesn't stay that way. So it's this constant cycle. And so right now things are a mess. So you've got my fireplace here that has way more books stacked there that usually should, someone's water bottle. Over here by the door, we still have bags that need to be unpacked from our trip. We have a basket of clean laundry that still needs to be sorted and delivered. And then turning around, again, way more books than should be on our little ottoman there, and just other random things and blankets and pillows that are a mess. And so this, the floor needs to be swept. We still haven't decorated our Christmas tree. So there's a lot going on. And then if you come into the kitchen, it's not that much different. So if you look over here, we have a stack of random things that need to be sorted through, a random toy that was gifted to one of my kids as a late birthday present. And then if you come over here, there are still dishes that need to be done. And so I could choose to clean all this right now, but I'm gonna have my kids do a cleanup with me when they come back, because otherwise I wouldn't have time to get any of this work stuff done. My room needs to be clean, my bed needs to be made. And so I don't have perfect systems in place, especially because we're in a transition with my husband's new job and work schedule. And so I am just here figuring it out like everybody else. And I thought I would take you guys along for the ride. So before I film my flip throughs, I'm just topping off my tea for just more tea, but also to heat it up. And then I also want to take this opportunity to take my elderberry syrup that I made the other day. And I like it just by the spoonful, but one of my favorite ways to do it lately is to put it right in my throat coat tea. So I'm getting the immunity boost, and then I'm also getting the immediate throat coat tea to help my throat. It's one of my favorite things. I do have a discount code for the elderberry syrup down below. And then I'm taking the last of this Feel Better Fast from Earthly, which I always take if I'm starting to feel under the weather. I'll take it a few times a day. I'll have my kids take it, and then I'll take it for a couple days after I'm feeling better, but we're out. So I'm like trying to get every last drop. And this is my favorite, so I'm definitely going to order some more. Definitely need to have this on hand this time of year. And I also have a 20% off discount code for Earthly as well. They're my favorite place to get all the holistic remedies that we need, like things for pain, things for sleep, all the things. Here's my box of curriculum that I just got in from Pure and Simple Printing. So this is the World Explorers Club unit. This is Argentina this month. And then, so this is the teacher's manual, and then there's a printable pack as well that I can show you in a minute. This is the Boreal Owl unit. This is the Bird of the Month Club. And then the Winter Survival unit, which is the Nature Study Club unit this month. I mean, look at how beautiful this quality is. She really does a beautiful job. So here's Expert Explorer. This is for ages 12 and up. Then you have, these are not necessarily in order, but Little Explorer is going to be ages 3 through 5. And Senior Explorer is your 9 through 11. Then Junior Explorer is going to be ages 6 through 8. And then the printable packs are huge, you guys. So I get these all printed on cardstock. I mean, look at this quality. Thick cardstock, beautiful detail on the printing. And so these are all part of the printable pack for Nature Study Club. And then there's Argentina, and that's a pretty large printable pack as well. So I just wanted to share with you guys those two things, some of the things that are available from For the Love of Homeschooling, and then also printing from Pure and Simple Printing. Okay, so I just got my flip throughs filmed and heating myself up another cup of tea, and I'm getting ready to set up for our morning time or group lessons or whatever we're calling it these days. So that whenever they get here, we can get started. And if I have time to clean things up or get anything else done, once I get us set up, then I'll do that. But at least I know I'll have everything set up so that when they walk in, I don't feel frazzled, like I need to still gather things. So I'm gonna do that first, and then those things will be set up on the table. And then if there's time left, I'll start doing some cleanup, throw on a load of laundry, all of that good stuff. So I shared in a recent video, like a plan and prep with me for Christmas school, for our first week of Christmas school, which was actually last week. But I also like to share the variety of ways in which I plan or don't plan and how those things play out. So this past weekend, I did not plan any of our lessons out, how things were going to blend together. I knew that we had a trip Monday through Wednesday, and that we would come home and we would have youth group, and that we would not be doing lessons at home until Thursday and Friday. I may have planned those things out ahead of time had we not been so busy over the weekend. And don't say busy in a bad way, like, oh, we were so busy. Like, we were just busy doing other things. We had church, we had Friday night, we had our volunteer Christmas party, and just other things going on that I didn't take the time to plan, and that's okay. If it works out. If it doesn't work for you, then that's okay too. But so I don't really have things planned. I know where we're going. I just don't necessarily have all the details planned. So I'm gonna show you what I have out and what I'm sifting through, and then what I end up deciding for today. So this is where we are in our Connected Christmas Around the World curriculum, I guess you could say. So this is week 2, Tuesday. So this is our second week, but today is Thursday, and that is okay. This is a 3-week unit that I started 4 weeks before Christmas on purpose so that I didn't feel pressure that if we did get behind a couple days or something like that, like it wouldn't be a problem. So this is where we're at today, and that is perfectly fine. So we will go through the Connected Christmas curriculum. I have a couple books that I'll probably do as read alouds later with my older 2 or even older 3, but mostly my older 2. And then I have my Bible already opened to the reading that we'll do for today, just so that's like saving time when we sit down together. As you can see, I have nothing in my planner for this week. So that is the reality. You saw me plan out this whole week if you saw that video last week, but this is reality. This week there is nothing technically planned. So from the book list, so there's a Kenya book list. There's a book list for every country in here. And I wasn't able to get my hands on any of these books through the library. However, this is why I like blending things sometimes, is that our Christmas guide from the Peaceful Press, which is more geared towards ages 3 through 6 for the most part. Like, I wouldn't get this if you just have older kids, but if you have younger kids or if you have a mix, this is really great to pull from for picture book recommendations, for crafts, and all these different skills that relate to Christmas and maybe some other things that you're doing with your older kids or with your different ages of kids. So what I liked about this is that this was one of the books that is scheduled in this guide, and it's for this week, which is week 2. And it is actually the book for Monday. And we are pulling from this really loosely. So I'll look this over and see if there are any things that we want to do today or tomorrow. But like, this is really cool because listen to the Nutcracker soundtrack or watch a clip of the ballet on YouTube. We went to the Nutcracker on Friday. So it's cool, like going through and being like, oh, we kind of already do that, or we already did that, or here's an idea that I do want to do. So I just want to share that. So if you feel like it's overwhelming to try to do all of these things, or whatever it may be, you can see that this is just a guide. Think about this as like a buffet of things to choose from to guide your Christmas schooling or your Christmas studies with your kids. So I'm going to take a peek over this, and then I'll let you know if there is anything that we plan to do this week. And if there's not, that's totally fine. It gave us this book that actually fits perfect with this study, especially because we weren't able to get our hands on any of these books. I could have purchased them, of course, but I was trying not to do that. Okay, so I looked it over really quick. I'm not sure if there are many things that we're going to do today, but either tomorrow or over the weekend, we will do a couple of these things. So hand-stamped wrapping paper, this is something we've done in the past, which we really enjoyed. You can do this with cookie cutters, with some paint, and so we'll definitely do that, even if we don't do it over the next couple of days. It could be an idea for another week entirely, and that's another way you can use this. We are gonna make some ornaments, so there's a couple different ideas for making ornaments here. So the stick stars, that sounds really cute. We may try to do that. We've done like stick trees before as ornaments, and they're really sweet. We are gonna finally decorate our Christmas tree at some point in the next few days because we haven't decorated it yet, although it has lights on it. We are going to do a salt dough or modeling clay activities. So you can also modify things to fit you. So we're gonna do something like that. We may make some homemade marshmallows, which is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, so that might be something that we do. And we may go on a nature walk tomorrow with our Wild and Free group, depending on how everyone's feeling. I don't want to go expose people to germs if we're feeling under the weather or have us coughing out there in the cold on a nature hike. But so as you can see, we are pulling this from this very loosely. Now, we're probably not going to do one of these today, but I am looking through to see what we're going to do. I want us to do one probably tomorrow. And so I'm saving the just basic winter ones for after Christmas and just focusing on the Christmas ones for now. So skipping some of these. We did the poinsettia one last week and we loved that. So I'm gonna let my kids pick this time. So we'll either do the Christmas tree, the ornaments, and we're making these as cards. So we're folding the watercolor paper in half after cutting it in half, and we're making them as cards. Or the Christmas stocking, the nativity, or the Noel wreath. So I'm gonna let them choose which one they wanna do, and we'll do that together tomorrow. So we're not using that today, and then I'm just gonna take a peek through Playful Pioneers to see what we're going to do from here. We are doing this, again, very loosely during the month of December because it's not our main focus. It has been the last couple of months, but it is kind of our secondary focus as we focus on Christmas school this month. This is where we are in Playful Pioneers. We are in month 6, week 21, and a couple of these activities I had planned to do at the end of last week, and we didn't get to them, but it's totally fine. So like our hymn, we're replacing with like our Christmas hymn. We're not reading the Jesus Storybook Bible because we are doing our Bible readings to go along with our Christmas schooling, but we are reading On the Banks of Plum Creek still. So we are going to read chapters 20 and 21 today, and then we will probably not do this book until tomorrow. I am trying to still keep up with the picture books for science and history in here. We'll do free reading, of course, and we will look at this piece of artwork, unveiling the Statue of Liberty, and just talk about that. And of course, like phonics, spelling, grammar, and math, those things are getting done in their independent work. So we will do some of this today. And then for tomorrow, we will likely discuss the Golden Rule and read George Washington's Rules of Civility. And then we will likely read chapters 22 and I think 23 from On the Banks of Plum Creek. We'll see how that goes. They usually want to read one more chapter anyway when we read one. So as you can see, loosely pulling from this as well. So we're still moving through it, but we're doing it in a way that works for us. So here's another example of my unpreparedness. I realized I only printed my Peaceful Preschool 2-letter K. Sometimes I do that so it doesn't feel so overwhelming with the printing. So I have not even looked at the L week stuff, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'll either do it tonight and we'll start it tomorrow, or I will look at it over the weekend and we'll start it next week. So last week was K week. I'm totally fine if we don't focus on L this week. I probably won't, but I will read this poem today with everyone as a review of the letter K for my youngest 3, and this clearly looks like a poem that will be appropriate for all ages, and it's not just so simple that it's for the littles. So we will do that, and I will regroup with letter L either for tomorrow or for next week. So when it is all said and done, you guys, just to recap so it doesn't feel overwhelming, this is the main thing we're doing today. This will include a hymn, some Bible, some geography, looking at some artwork. We have another piece of artwork that we're going to look at from Playful Pioneers. We have another poem that we'll be looking at from the Peaceful Preschool. So a couple of poems, a couple of pieces of art to look at, a couple of picture books. Well, really one picture book, unless the kids want to read more, which they probably will. Then a couple chapters from our read alouds. We may or may not read a chapter or two. This is our other read aloud that we've been reading. And then this will probably happen tonight. So I have been doing a lot of, with our new schedule, with my husband's new work schedule and just how things have been going as we transition, I've been doing a lot of the read alouds that are just for my older kids at night. So that's been working out really well. And that is pretty much it for today, other than a little bit of independent work for them. Okay, just remember there is one more thing that I will read with the kids, and that is the pages from The King is Coming. We are quote unquote behind with this. This goes with the Advent blocks in the playroom, which I shared in my Plan and Prep with Me video. It is more for my younger 2, maybe my 8-year-old, but we still read it together. They flip a block for the day. We still need to read day 2, so maybe we'll do 2 of these today. Again, not worried about if we get behind, but this is another thing that we might do. Now, keep in mind, this is my plan. If we need to stop for whatever reason, if we need to take breaks, if we need to hold some things off until tomorrow, that is totally fine. I'm not worried about that. So I just got a text from my husband that they are on their way home, so I'm not really going to get anything else done right now, and that's okay. When they come home, we're gonna do a quick cleanup together and then eat, because I know they're gonna be hungry. We're gonna eat something simple, like maybe oatmeal and some fruit, and then we are gonna get started on our group lessons. So not surprisingly enough, there was actually another change, which was I did not have us clean up first, because after we ate, we were all sitting at the table already. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna capitalize on this. I have everything set up. Everyone has just eaten, and we are going to sit and just get started. And then on our first break, that is when we will do a cleanup. So we started with some readings from our Advent blocks, and then they worked on their scripture copy work. We listened to our hymn that goes along with the Connected Christmas Around the World. Now we're getting ready to start our Bible reading. So starting at so if you remember, just to recap, the last thing we read about was Mary's praise. So Mary goes to visit Elizabeth. Elizabeth is like, how could this happen to me, that the mother of my Lord should come to me? Like, she was so excited about it. And then Mary just spends all this time giving praise to God about choosing her and giving her favor. And then you may have noticed that my littles at this point, my 3 and my 5-year-olds, have gotten up and are like being loud and throwing things around in the living room. Hold on, guys. We're not throwing things. We're not throwing shoes. So actually, please gather all the shoes and put them neatly in the mudroom, you two. Seth, do you hear me?
Okay.
And flinging the pencil is dangerous, so please don't do that. So help Juju clean up a little bit. All right. So Mary gives praise to God, and now we're at the birth and naming of John. Now the time had come for Elizabeth to give birth, and she had a son. Then her neighbors and relatives heard that the Lord had shown her his great mercy, and they rejoiced with her. When they came to circumcise the child on the 8th day, they were going to name him Zechariah after his father. But his mother responded, "No, he will be called John." Jesse, can you pick up at verse 61?
What they exclaimed, "There is no one in all your family by that name." So they used gestures to ask the baby's father what he wanted to name him. He motioned for a writing tablet, and to everyone's surprise, he wrote, "His name is John." Instantly, Zechariah could speak again, and he began praising God. Awe fell upon the whole neighborhood, and the news of what had happened spread
Hold on,
throughout.
sorry, Jesse. Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. Sethy, I didn't hear the toilet flush. Did you flush the toilet? Did you wipe properly? Look at mommy. Did you wipe properly? Did you wash your hands? Okay, so flush the toilet and wash your hands, please. Sorry, Jesse, go ahead.
Awe fell upon the whole neighborhood, and the news of what had happened spread throughout the Judean hills. Everyone who heard about it reflected on these events and asked, "What will this child turn out to be?" For the hand of the Lord was surely upon him in a special way.
Thoughts on that, Jax, what we just read?
I always thought that it was like when the baby was born, Zechariah was able to speak again, not like when he said.
So that's interesting. So it wasn't like instantly the baby's born and Zechariah can speak again. So why do you think it wasn't? Like, why was it not instantly he was born and he could speak again?
I don't know.
That's what I thought it was.
Because did the angel say that?
I think so.
Mom! The body gave flush!
Okay, so it says, and it's gonna... Okay, leave it alone. I'll take a look in a minute. Okay, so this is interesting because it says, the angel answered him, "I am Gabriel who stands in the presence of God, and I was sent to speak to you and tell you this good news. Now listen, you will become silent and unable to speak until the day these things take place, because you did not believe my words, which will be fulfilled in their proper time." Come here, Bobby. Come here. Okay, so I will spare you the high-pitched screaming, but I did want you to hear what was starting to take place. And this is not every time, but this is sometimes. And if I'm going to do in the day in the life, I want to share what it is actually like. And so right now I am trying to get my 5-year-old to come over to me and sit with me so that we can kind of continue, but I can also help him to calm himself down. So for me, like, it's not about a punishment right now. It's not about telling him to stop screaming. It's trying to help him work through this big emotion that he's having, which I end up finding out had to do with his sister trying to pick him up, but obviously not being strong enough. And then he got hurt because they sort of fell, or she dropped him, and he got a little bit hurt and frustrated. So maybe this will be helpful for some of you. Did you get hurt? So she tried to pick you up? Okay, I don't think she meant to hurt you, but did you say sorry? No, she did not. So look at me. Was she trying to hurt you by picking you up, or was she trying to have fun with you?
She wasn't trying to be having fun.
So Juju, were you trying to have fun with Sethy, or were you trying to be mean? Okay, so I think that makes sense. I don't think she tried to pick you up to try to be mean.
Yeah, she did.
So, but listen.
You're telling me.
So do you think so this is going in a bad direction, and you're gonna have to take a nap if we can't get it figured out. So listen up. Shh. So do you think she tried to hurt you, or was it an accident?
I don't know.
Okay. I think it was an accident. So where are you hurt?
Yeah.
Okay. Juju, I am gonna take that if it keeps being a distraction, okay? So did she say sorry just now?
No.
Juju.
Sorry.
Okay, so
I already
she's...
said sorry, yeah.
Yeah, she
I
did
said
say
sorry
sorry.
after that.
Okay. So can you check on him and see if he's okay? So I'm going to take this now, Juge. Yeah.
I'm going to put it away.
Not right now. Mommy's going to hold it for right now. So hold on. Did you ask him if he's okay and check on him?
Are you okay? Yeah. I'm okay.
Okay. Maybe let him rest for a minute, okay?
To God in the highest.
I think you want to remember that it's probably not safe to pick Sethy up because he's too big and too heavy for you to carry. And then one or both of you can get hurt like just happened, okay?
Okay.
All right. So I wanted to back up as I'm looking at the scripture, even though like different versions are not going to have the exact same language. But the angel says, until the day these things take place. I'm like, okay, what are these things then? So I backed up and he said, do not be afraid, Zechariah, because your prayer has been heard. Your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son and you will name him John. There will be joy and delight for you and many will rejoice at his birth. So part of these things includes the naming of him as John. It's not just the birth. But I did think the same thing, Jackie, that once the baby was born, like the angel said, then Zechariah would be able to speak again. But it's also, he needed to be named John because that's what the Lord instructed. So that's actually a really interesting point. Because, and I actually love that you brought that up as the thing that stuck out to you, because I was thinking to myself how much, again, it points to obedience, right? So Zechariah didn't have to have obedience in order for the baby to be born, right? Like, she was having the baby. But he could have chosen to be like, well, this is our custom, this is our culture, I want to name my child after me. Everybody's going to look at me like I'm weird if I don't. Or even if he planned on it, he could have like buckled under the pressure, but he chose obedience and understood God's power and mercy enough to say, like, all I have to do is obey. I'm going to be able to speak again. And beyond that, I would guess that it wasn't just him wanting to be able to speak again, that he would name his son something. He believed like there was purpose in it.
The child will be called a prophet of the Most High, for he will go before the Lord to prepare his ways, to give his people knowledge of salvation through the forgiveness of their sins, because of our God's merciful compassion.
So we have finished up our Bible reading, and we are going to start on the art piece that we're looking at for the week and just looking at it, discussing it. Sometimes with things like this, I'll have them try to recreate it either in their notebooks or on a piece of watercolor paper or something like that. I've also had Gia, because she is doing the narration notebook that comes along with the Connected Christmas Around the World. If the art piece for the week matches up with one of the readings, the Bible readings for the day, which they always do, then whatever day that is, I let her use the piece of art to kind of guide her illustration, and she can sort of try to copy from that. Whereas on the other days, she's creating on her own an illustrated narration that goes along with that Bible reading for the day. And then now we're moving right into learning about Christmas in Kenya.
Africa.
Yep, it's in the continent of Africa, so you can see the whole continent here. And then the green highlighted country is Kenya. The national language is Swahili. And the Christmas greeting, Hurry Ya Christmasi. Hurry Ya Christmasi. Who knows if I'm saying that even close to right. But Christmas in Kenya, what do you think it is?
I think it's hurry.
Hurry Ya Christmasi. Okay, so listen for details that you might want to put into your notebooks for interesting things about Christmas in Kenya, okay? Christmas in Kenya is a colorful, exciting time that reunites families and celebrates the birth of Jesus. So I just had to show you this beautiful artwork that my 12-year-old was doodling and working on. While we were reading, I allow him to do this as long as when I talk to him about what we're learning, he seems to have been paying attention. So you may have noticed that I allow my littles to kind of play and come in and out of what we're doing at the table because I realize that it is too long for them to sit at their age. So I don't expect that of them, but if we're going to read a picture book, I'll call them over and they're happy to do that because they haven't been sitting there for a very long time. So we're moving on to reading the 12 Days of Christmas, which is in kind of more of an African style to reflect African culture, which is perfect to go along with what we're learning today in learning about Christmas in Kenya. What's cool about it is it also mixes with a familiar Christmas story / Christmas song about the 12 days of Christmas. So it was interesting to see it portrayed in a different way with a different cultural style. We also ended up singing much of this, so I will spare you that. After the book was a good time for everyone to break, including myself, and just get up and move around. And this is when we did our cleanup. So I had my oldest son working on dishes, my 12-year-old working on floors, and then me and my 8-year-old and the littles working on getting the living room cleaned up, sorting and delivering some laundry to do the different bedrooms. We do not fold laundry in this house if you've missed that before. I'm kind of cleaning up and organizing this fireplace area that ends up being a catch-all, and things get just like piled up here. So this is our cleanup time, and then we will likely eat something and go from there. So we are making some really great progress. My 8-year-old is finishing sorting and delivering the laundry. I have a couple of things that I am just putting away. These books will be ready for us when we do our read alouds here in the living room, and just finishing up little last bits and pieces. The fireplace looks way better. Blankets and pillows are organized. Random things have been delivered. There is still stuff on the kitchen table from how we left it for morning lessons, so we will need to still organize those things. But other than that, we're in pretty good shape. My 16-year-old is almost done filling the dishwashers. So I'm getting settled in the living room where we'll do our read alouds. Okay, so what I'll sometimes do when I don't plan ahead is I'll backwards plan. So these days I'll fill that in later, maybe with some of the things, maybe I will, maybe I won't, with some of the things that we did while we were away. But for today, we did Connected Christmas, some of The King is Coming, and that's what we did so far at the table as a group. And now that we've cleaned up, we're all gonna come in here together on the couch. We're probably gonna have another little snack, and then we are going to read this poem, which was from K-Week of the Peaceful Preschool. We're gonna take a look at this piece of artwork from week 21 in Playful Pioneers. We'll read the book, The Long Way to a New Land, or at least we'll start it. This is like a short chapter book, so we'll start this. And then if we are still feeling like we want to do more reading, I may do another day or two in here. I just had the kids switch the blocks. And then we may do some of these readings probably on the banks of Plum Creek, and maybe October. I'll let the kids choose. And then whatever we don't get to, we'll do tonight at bedtime after our Advent reading. And then if we still don't get to it, then it will get moved till tomorrow, and I'm not worried about it. We're gonna read this poem called My Kingdom by Robert Louis Stevenson.
I do want to tell you what my father talked about with Seth about those. But
okay. The name of this poem is called My Kingdom. Can you find a K in there? My Kingdom.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so the word kingdom starts with K. Remember how we learned how the word king starts with K? King. Kingdom also starts with K, right? So this is called My Kingdom, guys. Ready? All about was mine, I said, the little sparrows overhead, the little minnows too. This was the world and I was king. All right, guys, we're gonna look at this piece of art, and this is called Unveiling the Statue of Liberty, and it's by Edward Moran. So I'm gonna even pass it around so you guys can take a good look at it.
Yeah,
You see it, Jules? This is a Statue of Liberty.
Can I see? Can I hold it really close?
Yeah? What do you notice about it?
I noticed about like this.
What are those?
Can you tell
Hmm?
me?
There's flags and boats, right? Let's pass it to Justy and he can see what he notices. So while her siblings share what they notice about the art, my 3-year-old has noticed the K from last week, and she is interested in finger tracing it and talking about the letter and making the sound, which is pretty cool, especially because it was completely unprompted. There's some connections here between the piece of art and this book that we're going to read. So what do you guys notice about the cover?
That is the United States flag.
The United States flag. What else do you notice?
Immigrants.
Pilgrims.
Pilgrims or immigrants. We don't know if they're pilgrims because what's a pilgrim? A pilgrim? Somewhere else. Why? There's this
Religious freedom.
So if you're looking for religious freedom, you're considered a pilgrim. So they could be pilgrims. So the long way to a new land. You guys ready? This was actually a really good book. The kids really enjoyed it. I only planned on reading maybe 1 or 2 chapters, and they wanted to read the whole thing. So we went ahead and read the whole thing. All right, you guys, we are done for the day unless we end up doing our read alouds tonight, which we probably will. I am just grabbing a couple Scout bars. Yes, I hide them in my room. Otherwise, my kids would just completely eat them. We are loving the holiday pack. So I'm bringing 1 peppermint brownie for me, 1 peppermint brownie for my daughter. We're gonna grab some water and head to gymnastics. Okay, back home from gymnastics, going to make some dinner once we get inside. My grocery order, which I ordered when I first sat down at gymnastics, has arrived. I needed to get some things to make some pasta after I start my bread for tomorrow. So I am just making my sourdough bread with my littles. This will just be for tomorrow, not for tonight, because it's already pretty late getting home from gymnastics. So we're doing a quick dinner tonight. And then we will just start our evening routine, which will just consist of everyone getting ready for bed, us doing our Advent time, and some read alouds. Now that I've got my dough prepped, this will sit for an hour before its first stretch and folds, and I'm just going to feed my starter so that it is ready for tomorrow if I want to use it to make something else. Okay, we are done with dinner, and I came upstairs to help my little ones get ready for bed and realized they did not make their beds. So even though it's getting close to bedtime, I did have them do that. I really just want them to get in that habit, had them tidy up a bit. And while they were doing that, I actually went through and grabbed the dirty laundry to do a load of laundry. And then this is all clothes we are getting rid of. So we purged while we were putting laundry away and organizing. And now I am switching over the laundry, getting everything out of the dryer, and putting everything that was in the washer into the dryer. You know how the drill goes. So once I switch over the laundry, we will carry on with our evening routine. So in the past, I would just mention this part of the day and not show it because I don't have this beautiful, ideal laundry room. It is just in my dark basement, but I really just would rather share what my life is really like. This is real life. My laundry is in the basement, and I'm just thankful to have a washer and dryer. Okay, and by now it is actually time for my first stretch and fold, which also includes oiling the bowl. So as you can see, it's super stretchy, so definitely good timing. Just the way that it will stretch without coming apart shows that it was ready for some stretch and fold. So this is a no-knead bread recipe. It keeps it super simple. After the first hour, you stretch and fold, then you add a little bit of oil, olive oil to the bowl, and then you put it back in, and then every half hour, like 3 or 4 more times, you stretch and fold, and then you can put it in the fridge until the next day, or it will be ready to proof. So you would then shape it and let it rise for 2 hours and then bake it. Okay, you guys, so we have eaten dinner. The kids have gotten cleaned up for bed, brushed their teeth, all of that good stuff. I am just about to get the kettle off of the stove. We're gonna have tea and do our Advent time together, and that is pretty much it for today. Hope you enjoyed coming along on this day in the life. You can hear my 5-year-old starting to unravel. He's getting tired, so we need to wrap it up. The beginning of meltdowns is usually an indication that if I haven't started transitioning us already, it is time. So for all of the times when we gather, I typically try to give them like a few minutes heads up and say like, hey guys, in 5 minutes we're gonna gather. And then again, I'll say like 2 more minutes or 1 more minute. So that way I like to respect them if they're in the middle of something while also wanting them to respect if I call them to gather. So it's kind of like respecting one another and let them know like if they're in the middle of an art project, I don't expect them to just immediately drop their things and come where I am. So my 8-year-old was the first one at the table this time around, and it just varies. So typically I will pour myself a cup of coffee or tea depending on the time of day or what I'm in the mood for, and just relax and enjoy this few minutes waiting for them to gather, enjoying the time with them, chatting with whoever gets to the table first, or just letting them have a moment of quiet and relaxation. He or she is actually working on her narration notebook, which was still out for her, so that she could come back to it whenever she wanted to. And she's just taking the time to work on that now, peacefully, while the tea cools in the cups, waiting for the rest of her siblings to gather. This is such a precious time to me, just like our morning times are, that although they are not perfect and often can even have frustrating moments or lots of interruptions, I'm just reminded that this is the most important thing, is time together, time seeking the Lord together, and just building strong family connections and connections with our faith. And what really could be more important than that?
To us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace.
Believing, so that by the power of the Holy Spirit you may abound in hope.
So we finished our Advent time at the table, and we've moved to the couch in the living room, and we have this other Advent book that we're reading from, Good News, Great Joy, from the Daily Grace Co., and we've been really liking this one as well. We are not up to date on this. We are behind a few days, but we are not worried about it. We are picking up where we left off.
Through Moses, God showed his glory and his love for his people. Remember, none of this was done in Moses' power. Prophets communicated and acted on behalf of God.
This is just one of the many prophets God sent to communicate to Israel. Some prophets were given marvelous abilities like Moses.
So I had these 2 little wiggle worms come over and sit with me because they were getting a little too silly and really just need to settle down and start to fall asleep. I hope you enjoyed seeing this real and raw day in the life. Let me know down in the comments below if you enjoyed it. I hope to see you soon in one of my next videos, and until next time, stay rooted.